All right, hello and welcome back to Market Shares. I am your host, Tony Blodgett, and I'm so happy to have my good friend Dan Keller here with me today, because today we're going to talk about how important it is to do an annual mortgage review, even in a market where interest rates have gone up, and why that is important. But before we get to that, Dan, we got to talk about what's going on in the news right now, because I don't know if you saw, matter of fact, you pointed out the Target thing to me, and then I'm Googling, and Walmart is losing money. So we got Target, we got Walmart, we have all of our largest retailers are losing money right now.
Lost. They posted losses, right, for Q1. So they're currently losing money, but they lost in the last couple of months. So it means something.
I read that the owner, the Walton family who owns Walmart, lost $16 billion in one day with what happened to their stock price based on the projected losses in the future as well. Yeah. So, well, look, guys, all of this points to one thing, and that is inflation is taking hold. The average consumer is spending less money, and that's what you see happening right now, and that's why retail sales are down, and even those things that we don't really consider luxuries. You know, I mean, both of our wives, I'm sure, spend lots of time at Target picking up little odds and ends, and I guarantee you, when you're putting $140 in your SUV to take the kids back and forth to sports and school, you're probably not picking up all those extras off the shelf at Target, right?
Yep.
So what does this mean? Well, we're going to spend just a second on this, because there is a word out there that gets talked about a lot, and I don't think people quite understand it, and that's the word stagflation. We all hear about inflation because we know what inflation is. That's what's been happening. But what is stagflation? Well, just quickly, stagflation is when we have inflation happening during a period of time where we see economic recession. Now, we've talked about recession on this show, and we know that the definition of a recession technically is 2 quarters in a row of lower GDP. We saw lower GDP in the first quarter. We'll see what the results are when they come out for the second quarter. But we are starting to see signs like Target and Walmart and other retail stores having losses. You know, all of this is showing us that our economy is pulling back. But what's going to happen with inflation? Well, what we know right now is that if inflation is measured on a year-over-year basis, and so as 1 month drops off, we look at the new month's inflation numbers, and it's that 12-month average that we're really looking at. And it's going to give us a little bit of a false sense of improvement here, because when you look at year-over-year numbers, there was a little bit of a dip during May and June in the numbers. And so as those fall off, it may look like the numbers are better, but we started seeing inflation spike up, you know, as we got into summer, and we're still seeing really hot inflation numbers right now in the new reports that are coming out, over 8%, I believe the last one was. And so when we look at this, we expect to not see a marketed decrease in the year-over-year inflation numbers probably until we get into, the end of the third quarter, maybe even the fourth quarter. And we know that it's pretty likely during that time we're going to continue to see the likes of the Walmarts and the Targets, you know, and maybe even GDP's lower. So we could be in a bit of a stagflation environment, at least for a period of time. But here's the last thing I want to say about this, you guys, is that, you know, the Fed, in my opinion, is not going to stop until they deal with inflation. So, you know, there is a thought that says, hey, if we start seeing signs of a recession, things are slowing down, does the Fed back off of their plans that they've talked about to raise rates, you know, probably 50 basis points at the next 2 Fed meetings? I say, as long as we see inflation numbers continue to rise or stay at their elevated levels, then the Fed is going to continue on their war path to lower inflation, even if it means that we see, you know, the economy start to recede a little bit in different areas. So be prepared for that. The Fed, in my opinion, won't let off until inflation turns, and I don't think that's going to happen right away. So my guess is we see a period of stagflation. Let's hope that it's short, because it's the worst economic situation that you can have, where prices are going up, but yet the economy's slowing. Keep in mind, inflation usually happens because the economy's roaring, and that's why we see inflation. And so, you know, when the economy is slowing and inflation's still going up, that's not a good place. We want to get through that quickly. So just want to touch on that. But Dan, what we really want to talk about today is annual reviews. And look, I know in your mortgage practice, this is something that has always been a part of your business. And I think it's very obvious to loan officers and even, customers, like, hey, why would you do an annual review when interest rates are low? Well, the answer to that's pretty obvious, because you're hoping that someone has a high interest rate and wants to refinance. That's not the only reason, but that's an obvious reason why you would do that. But now we're in an environment where interest rates are increasing, and it sounds to me like you're doubling down on making sure that your annual reviews happen with every single one of your clients. So let's just unpack that for a minute. Tell me, what is it about annual reviews that are important to you, and why should loan officers consider doing them even in an elevated interest rate market?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're loan officers, we're in sales, and we sold a client a product, which is our services, us and our services, which is a mortgage, right? I learned this a long time ago, that my job is to put people into debt. So I worked really hard to learn how to help people pay off debt. Now, whether it's your mortgage or credit card debt or auto loans or student loans, it doesn't really matter. Debt is debt. Now, mortgage debt is considered good debt, but we have an obligation as mortgage professionals to help people manage debt. And so it'd be super selfish of us as mortgage professionals to only call our clients when rates drop.
Right.
And most mortgage professionals do that, Tony, right? And you know that.
I do.
And so there is a need for us right now. Listen, most mortgage people and real estate agents have no idea what you just talked about, stagflation. They're as confused as everyone is right now about why in the heck are we seeing inflation, but consumers, they'll watch the news, are spending less. It doesn't even hardly make sense to me until I sit down and talk to people like you. That's one more reason why we should be calling our clients.
Right.
Assuring them that, hey, recession doesn't mean housing collapse. Recession, there's tons of data out there that shows, minus the last 08 to 2010, which had to do with fraud and greed and all that stuff, housing benefits from a recession. Mortgage rates tend to drop and home values continue to appreciate because money becomes more liquid, right? So I'm hedging the idea and the fact that we're going through a period of time right now that's going to end in 6 to 18 months. And during this time period, mortgage rates could potentially become much more affordable, lower. So what I want to do, twofold. I want to reach out to all of my clients and make sure that, hey, I'm servicing that account. I'm helping them manage that mortgage. And we do so by asking a series of, I've got a Google Docs form that I have them fill out. So I have the answers to that so that on this 10 or 15 minute Zoom call or phone call, we can address some of the things that stand out. So for example, what I'm really trying to get at with an annual mortgage review is to connect the dots between my job as a mortgage professional and all the other vendors or service providers involved in a transaction or involved in the journey of homeownership. You have real estate professionals, you have financial planners, you have insurance professionals, you have CPA tax professionals. As we get older in life, you're going to need an estate attorney to help you not only to manage your estate, but your will, right? And so there's a lot, contractors, roofers, the list goes on, painters. So my job through these annual mortgage reviews is to find a pain point and help them solve it. That's it. And we're not going in greedy. We're not looking for a deal. Now, at the end, when we do a really great job, I'm going to ask them when they say, hey, this was super valuable. Hey, I'd love for an introduction. If you hear of anyone out there, volume is down right now. I could sure use some more business, right? So if you hear of anyone wanting to buy or sell real estate right now, please think of us. But a couple of things that I'm really trying to get my clients to think about is just awareness, financial awareness. So one of the questions that I get to is I start asking about, are you aware of how much home equity you have? Well, we use, thanks to you, HomeBot.
Yep.
So we use HomeBot. So they're getting a monthly email showing them how their values are. Are they going up? Are they going down? Are they going sideways? I ask a question in order of most importance to least importance. Rate these: paying off debt, building your net worth through investing in real estate, paying off your mortgage by retirement, investing in the stock market, or saving money to send your kids off to college. So by just having them check the box 1 to 5 and rating those, I get a better idea of what my clients are really looking for financially. Are you maxing out your 401k annually? Do you know, this is a key question, do you know how much money you need in investments in order to retire? 99% of people say no. because they don't. Most people don't know the exact number they need in order to say, you know what, I'm done working. I can live off of interest, right? So these are all questions that I'm asking so that I can tee them up with, and then I kind of close with 5 different service providers: insurance agent, financial planner, CPA, real estate attorney, and real estate agent on a scale of 5, 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the lowest. Please rate each of the following people. Well, if they rate their insurance agent a 5 and their financial planner NA, that means they have no financial planner. It's an opportunity for me to refer. On the flip side of it is if they rate their financial planner a 5, I want to know who that financial planner is because I like working with 5s. Right. And so same thing with real estate agents, same thing with life insurance, all of that stuff. So at the very end of this, I can check the box off going, hey, the Smiths are right on track. They're doing everything right, or the Smiths need an introduction to so-and-so.
Yeah. Well, look, what you're doing is you're following through on your promise to your clients when you give them a loan and say that I'm going to be your mortgage advisor for life. Yeah. This is what that looks like. And man, it's a lot easier to make the call to let a client know that rates have dropped and they may benefit from a refinance when on the off years, you've been calling them also and finding out how else you can bring value to their family. And so I love this, Dan. I wanted to bring this to the viewers of Market Shares because this is the kind of stuff that the pros do. When we have a market that feels a little bit unsettled, it's going back to these kind of conversations, and it's not intuitive. You don't think about an annual review when rates have gone up 2 points. But you know what? You might have a client you put in a loan 6 months ago, a year ago, and they're worried about the value of their home. It's a great opportunity to put someone's mind at ease about what's going on in the market. It's a great opportunity to get a referral from them. Like Dan said, we're slower right now, and the very best type of deal that we can get or transaction that we can get is a referral from a trusted friend or family member. And just because rates are high, maybe that client isn't going to refinance today, but you know what? They may be looking for a second home. They may have a friend or family member who's looking to purchase in this market, and you can help them out, etc. So anyways, we're going to make this a short episode today because I just wanted to quickly talk about that. But Dan, I appreciate you being a leader in this space and talking about this because, man, I look at some loan officers today and, yeah, they're out doing their prospecting, but they have idle time. Yep. And it's like, what could they be doing? Well, what you could be doing is reconnecting with all the clients that you were so busy churning their loans through in the last 2 years, connecting with them, checking in and having a conversation like this.
I'll leave you with this. Over the last couple of years when we did refinance a lot of people, we were able to help a lot of people because we stayed in contact with them before. And I'll tell you, the other thing that I heard a lot was, you know, Dan, it's great to hear from you. And it was great hearing from you in the past versus you just calling us because you could save us some money and you could get a refinance. So don't think that your clients aren't noticing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys, I love having Dan on the show because, you know, he is one of those mortgage professionals where he's not perfect, but you know what, man, he sure works his butt off every single day to do the right things. And then more than anyone that I know, he's willing to share that knowledge with other mortgage professionals, whether they work with us or work somewhere else. Dan doesn't care. He loves to help loan officers. He runs a coaching group that you can find him on Facebook, and follow this guy on social if you're not already, because he puts out a bunch of great information on Instagram, on YouTube, and get into his private coaching group. Dan, thanks again for being on the show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you enjoy this content, tell your friends and people in the industry about this podcast because I sure love doing it and I've enjoyed this time. Until next time, this is Market Shares, and bye for now.